Hello and welcome back to Wake Up Nigeria. Now we have our final guest for this morning. Abayomi Akin-Aina Caleb is a photographer. He's also a cinematographer. He's highly skilled and has a passion for capturing life's most precious moments. Now, utilizing a combination of his technical expertise and his creative vision, we have him here as our SME guest so we can pick his brain. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Guy, you did not dress like a photographer today. Was this deliberate? Was this intentional?
No, actually, it's intentional.
Intentional?
So, yeah, sometimes this is how I dress to events and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, so you need to help me wrap my head around it. With all the cameras, straps, and everything, how does a suit work?
Yeah, so basically, I work with a couple of assistants. So
Okay.
if I need to do anything, they just pass it over to me. Then I just
All
do
right.
it.
He's a big boy, you know? But it's great to have you here.
Yeah,
you need to let us in on your journey and how it all began.
Yeah, so apparently I started photography way back when I was in uni. That was Lagos State University last year. I studied computer science.
Okay.
So apparently I was one of the tall guys in my set then. So there's this, I think we set up like 40 to 45 in the class. So most times when they want to take pictures,
Yeah.
some of my colleagues were like, oh, who can take these pictures? Then we end up like not taking the proper pictures. Then I'm like, Akin, can you do this? I was like, okay, let me go. So when I use my hand, so they were like, I'll capture every single person. They were like, wow, this is amazing.
So selfie hand, essentially.
Yeah, so they call me selfie hand then in school. And a couple of my friends were like, guy, you're really taking this, you're doing this thing very well. Even with just a phone, you're doing very well. And like I remember way back then, people were already eyeing me for like wedding. I think that was about 3 to 4 years ago. People were paying me for about 150 to cover weddings. I'm like, wow. Then some of my guys were like, guy, why didn't you just venture into this professional? And I'm like, oh, wow, let me give it a try. And thank God it's actually worth it.
It must have been a heavy investment because cameras, especially back in the day, they've always been expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, yeah. So apparently, basically, yeah. So it's actually a bit of hectic and it's more of like a growing journey for me, actually. Because I remember my first camera was not bought by myself.
Yeah.
So I won a scholarship then in school as total, yes.
Nice.
So I think over time I've already received like the first payment, second payment. They were supposed to pay me for like 3 years apparently. So the last payment, I actually picked up the money. Then I bought my first camera. Then I think that was D33-200. That was 150,000 then.
What year was this?
I think that was 2016 or thereabouts. Yes, if I'm not
Interesting,
sure. Yes.
interesting.
So that was
All
my
right.
first professional camera I bought myself then.
So from then, hop, skip, and jump till now, you've created a niche for yourself. I believe it's wedding photography, am I
Yeah,
right?
so apparently I grew into wedding photography because to me, photography was more of like a calling basically because I actually don't want to do photography professionally. Most times I remember then going to events, I'm always very shy to see my classmates, see me as a photographer because I believe to me it's a dirty job actually, to be very honest. I believe they're like the regular kind of people. So I actually want to be like a pilot, an engineer.
Wow.
So actually I met a friend of mine, Walt, then he was like, wow, guy, you can actually do this and buy cars. I know photographers that have fine houses, beautiful things and stuff like that.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm going to give it a try. So to me, actually...
These are some very beautiful photos. These are amazing. Wow. The lighting is epic. I'm loving your colors and the effects you use. But this must have been a journey for you to start from, just using a cell phone to now getting this professional.
Yeah.
Any training behind that?
Yeah, sure, definitely. Most times, I wasn't trained by a particular person actually, but I'm someone that I can actually go online, check stuff and learn. Actually, so most times too, I pay for workshops online. Whenever I see workshops,
Okay.
I've attended a couple of workshops, and also I've been opportune to work with like the likes of T.Y. Bello as well.
Nice.
Yeah, alongside, they've been able to impart, tell me stuff like, oh, Akin, this is how you put things down, and big.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm honestly extremely, intrigued and interested in your work. But I've worked with a lot of photographers before, and it does feel like the industry is on the side of saturated right now. That's not a play on words, by the way.
Yeah.
Saturation in this particular industry means that there are a lot of people doing exactly this. How do you stand out?
I think one of my biggest fear in the creative industry is being like everybody. That's my biggest fear. I want to be different. In as much as I want to be a photographer, I want to be a cinematographer, I want to be a filmmaker. My biggest fear is to being like everyone. I believe like if you can create a niche, if you can stand out in every industry, you definitely don't have to be scared of the saturated market. And like people used to say, the bed is big enough for the sky is big enough for every bird to fly. So
All right.
definitely it works.
So now let's talk money. Let's talk business. As a business, how lucrative has this been? How have you been able to structure it such that you don't need to delve into any other areas?
Yeah, apparently, yeah. So it's just, I believe it's more of like discipline actually, because photography is something that whenever you're actually doing, you need to be very disciplined, because sometimes there's a lot of distraction, there's a lot of site attraction and all that. But once you can place discipline as a priority, definitely it's actually called a what. And also I have a couple of staff that are actually very understanding. And one thing again I do also as well is, for people say for business to work, you need to put on the serious hands as well. And also you don't want to keep on holding people's salaries down. So in as much as you're doing, you're not doing that actually, they want to put in their best and they actually trust whoever is actually leading the loads and all of that.
I like the fact that you delved into staff. What's your staff strength right now?
Yeah, my staff strengths are like, basically, let me say 3 to 4, 5.
Okay, so are these full-time or part-time?
Yeah, so basically I have like 2 full-time staff. One of them is also here with me, but it's behind the scenes and all of that. So I have part-time staff too as well, and I have also people that work for me from other countries too as well, like I send works and all of that.
A studio?
Yeah, not studio per se, but like post-production actually, because that's more of like the demanding part of our work and all of that.
All right, so now on an average, when we sort of try to compare businesses like yours, we sort of try and compare with the corporate world. If, for instance, someone came to offer you a job in the corporate world tomorrow, is this something you would consider?
Actually depends, because I can remember way back, about 2 or 3 years ago, Studio 24 offered me, or maybe a couple of, or even I think in my NYC, immediately I finished my NYC, they offered me to actually work back, but I told them no. So for me, actually, I feel like there's no corporate work I actually want to do. But some also, it depends, actually. So in the corporate...
So being on your own is working for you?
Definitely, it's what it's. I will not say 100%, but let me say 95 to 90.
So let's talk clientele now, because everybody loves a beautiful picture of themselves, no matter what social class we're talking about. Do you have a particular target?
Yes, definitely. I have a particular target, because before now, I actually don't really mind the targets, but now I feel like more is more demanding for me actually, because the fact that I actually need to pay more tax, I need to pay. Also, I forgot to mention, so my studio's in Lekki, so you know what that means? It's a whole lot of money to actually maintain the place. So I have a target that actually, that's one of the reasons why I actually consider wedding photography too as well, as part of my niche. So I have a lot of target that actually needs like the high-end client to be able to actually deal with bills, because we need to give it a balance, not thinking about money then. At the end of everything, and the balance, the business is actually fluctuating. There's no money to fund the business, and there's actually no moving forward. So actually, clientele has to be like the high-end, people who can pay well. So those are my.
So when you say high-end, for some, high-end might be a little low-end. Let's talk your basic rate card now. A couple getting married this weekend, they want to do the basic, nothing too crazy, basic photography package. How much?
Yeah, I think my list package for now, actually, I want non-appearance, actually, 750,000.
Non-appearance?
Non-appearance.
You're not showing up?
I'm not showing up.
750K?
Yes.
And you'll not be there?
I won't be there.
It's your people there. When you show up, how much?
I think that should be about 950 to a million plus, actually.
Interesting. All right. No wonder.
I'm actually thinking of pushing it forward.
I'm with you on that. Nigeria has been good to you, because the wedding industry in Nigeria is second to none. There's a wedding every single weekend. It feels like a market that is unending, never-ending source of clients for you. We appreciate you for coming to talk to us this morning. And good luck with everything you do.
Thank you.
I get free.
No problem.